And when I started out, I thought I had it all planned out. I had a map, right? I knew how it was going to unfold. I was in canine for most of my career, and I had this vision of I was going to, you know, change the world with my dog, and I was going to catch bad guys, and I was going to rise through the ranks of my police department. I was going to raise my family, and my daughter was going to get married, and my son was going to go off and have his own life. And I had this all mapped out. And what happened was in 2007, God reached down and tapped me on the shoulder and says, you know what, that plan you had, we're going to call an audible. We're going a different route. And he did that in the form of my son's autism diagnosis. And when a doctor tells you those three words, that your son is autistic, it has a tendency to change almost everything you see, everything you believe, everything you think you know, and especially everything you thought you had planned. Everything changed at that point. So I had to pivot, and I had to get my feet under me and figure out what this was, what this autism diagnosis was. And I really had no idea. So when this outlet came, and I kind of opened up my inner soul to a lot of people, a lot started to change, and my following started to grow, and more and more people started to follow what I was writing. How this relates to you is when I was writing, at first I didn't mention I was a cop. I was just kind of a dad out here in New Jersey trying to figure all this out and sort out these things that were going through my head. Eventually I shared that I was also a cop. I think I did it just in passing one day. And when I did that, everything changed. I started getting questions around the country, around the world, really, questions, concerns, and people expressing fear about law enforcement interacting with their kids. And it wasn't one person, it wasn't 10 people, it wasn't a dozen, it was hundreds and thousands of people from all different walks of life, all around the world, telling me that they were nervous, afraid, scared, terrified, petrified, just all kinds of emotions that are negative about either past experiences with police officers or future anxiety about what if my son or daughter is mistreated by a cop. Good guys. So to hear people, families just like mine, expressing to me emotions that about me as a cop, that they'd be afraid to call for help, really, it buckled me. So I started asking them why. Like, why are you afraid why would you be afraid of police officers? And they gave me two reasons. And the first reason was they think that if they call the police to help them with their child or adult, and you got to forgive me because I always say kid or child because that's where my frame of reference is. But you got to understand there are literally millions of people, adults, on the spectrum too. But they started telling me they're afraid that the police are going to come and hurt their kid, hurt their child physically. They're going to misunderstand his behavior. They're going to mislabel him as a criminal, misunderstand how to approach him, and not know how to de-escalate a situation and do physical harm. And that's valid, and I get that, and I feel that. But the other reason they gave me was that they were afraid that the police are going to come to their home and judge them, and judge them as unfit parents, and see them not having control of their child, or God forbid losing their child, and the police getting there and passing judgment that they're unfit, calling whatever state agency that oversees them, and literally taking their kid away. A lot of people believe that. Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of afraid too. I am the second ranking officer in my police department right now. I have 50 officers who have to do what I say. I'm in charge of training. I run the police department, and I live in the town I work in. And when I'm honest, I will tell you that right now, if I was having trouble with my son and I needed help, I would hesitate to call my own cops to come help me. So I really started to figure out why. I want to dive into this and why we are afraid, and what it is, and whether it's a perception issue, whether it's just basic ego and basic fear of being judged, or whether it's a real kind of like people having bad experiences and a well-founded apprehension towards the police. The reality is it doesn't matter. The reality is the perception is the reality, because if they perceive this, whether it's from personal experience or it's anecdotal or something they've seen on Facebook or a friend of a friend of a friend had a bad experience, it doesn't matter, because it will manifest itself into them hesitating to call us for help.